everyone. We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming, and via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming from our studios in Trinidad. Sutras of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, and in that series I take today how to use understanding, awakening or enlightenment to address the problems that we have around. How to use understanding, awakening and enlightenment to address the problems that we have around. With every definition that we have made, we have defined ourselves as the most intelligent creature on the planet. With every definition that we have made, we have defined ourselves as the most intelligent creature on this planet. These are our own definitions. I do not know if insects and other creatures agree with these definitions or not. But these definitions are made by man to define himself. Fishermen use their net to catch fishes. I understand the fishes were very happy because they saw the intelligent man is being caught in the web or the net of other people just like them. But by our own definitions, we are most intelligent creature. So our understanding is right now, whosoever dominates must really be intelligent. That includes even the politicians. So for this, we are paying a lot of price. Whoever is right dominates and is certainly most intelligent as well. If we go by that definition, we are most intelligent. Maybe instead of intelligent, we are most intellectual. Indeed, of all the creatures, we are not really the most intelligent because we do not seem to know even the simplest thing, what to eat after all these millions of years. Even now research is going on what to eat and what is best to eat for us. This is the human tragedy. On the other hand, if you put something in front of the dog, one sniff, it knows whether to eat or not. So who is more intelligent on that score, a dog or a man? But we consider ourselves more intelligent. This is one criteria and it cannot be used to determine the level of intelligence. So this is mainly because of a new thing happening. I mean the cerebral activity. We are too excited. Just like people are engaged with their smartphones all the time. Even sunrise, full moon, sunset, they look on their phone screens because the instrument is new and maybe the next generation may not even look at it properly. Long time the type of calculators our ancestors use, we are not using it. The computers that were very big, a certain amount of certain type of temperature was necessary, using the Algol and COBOL or Fortran languages. The whole room was fully air conditioned at a certain temperature where the computers were kept. Now the size have been reduced. Would any modern child will go to those computer labs using those big computers where everything has to be punched first on a card and then the cards are fed into the computer for processing. Now the things have changed. Tremendous research has gone into, and then the computers have become smaller and smaller and doing the same or even more efficient works. So everyone is engaged with the phone, which they call smartphone. Generally, someone will refer to someone else as smart when they find the person is smarter than them. Isn't it so? Sometimes we say this person is a sharp intelligence. So you consider the phone smarter than you. Unfortunately, for a whole lot of people, phone is the smartest thing for and around them. Two people sitting on the couch using the phones, sending the greetings and pictures to one another, birthday wishes, congratulations and things like these, instead of directly speaking. There are many such internet jokes. One day I was sitting in the living room, which is usually the kitchen and the living room and the dining room together. So dining room was my office table. So I was doing something and I prepared a birthday card for my niece. So my daughter was going up the stairs that was on the side of the kitchen. So I asked her to come and look at the card that I made for your cousin. She told me send it to her via WhatsApp and she will look at it. I said okay. Another day she called me and said if my breakfast is ready. I said yes, it is ready. Do you want me to send it to you by WhatsApp? Such are the internet jokes now. Similar, one day a customer asked, do you do home deliveries as well? If I had to normally, I said yes, we do the normal deliveries. He said, what is the cost? I said the cost depends upon the area, time, the distance, the time, and the amount of goods that is to be transported, and that is not done by us. This is done by the courier services. She said, it should be free. I said, yes, it is free. You can get it free. I said, how long that will take? I said, just a few minutes. Send me the order and I will send your supply via WhatsApp at no cost to you. So similar are the jokes of internet. But fundamentally, intelligence always has been so. It might have found expression in the form of thoughts, which gave us the capability of language and many other arts, music, and things. Certainly, it gave us various capabilities, and there is no question about that. So, only a very few, very small percentage of people use it that way. Like using the internet facility, WhatsApp, and all these in that way, in a creative way. But we all engage in useless pursuits. But that is the way. While the rest of the people are using their intellect just to freak hell out of themselves. So this is essentially like you are having a gadget and you have not read the user's manual, and without reading the manual you are doing something with it. This is exactly what we are continuing to do with our intelligence. It is capable of doing many things which are more versatile, but we are engaged into petty things. We are using our smartphones for petty things rather than using it for something very important. Human sufferings you see around, people are suffering on various levels. As a doctor, you are probably seeing the physical suffering only in terms of ailments and surgeries and whatever they go through, even injuries and other such stuff. But I am seeing a different level of suffering. People who have no ailments to complain about, but they are suffering deeply for various reasons. People without any ailments suffer for more than those with ailments. At least if you have an ailment, you have a good excuse. For instance, we have two important faculties, memories and imagination. Some suffer because of memories, others suffer because of imagination, and there is no coordination or bridge between memories and imagination, and this is the cause of many psychological diseases, ailments. People without any ailments suffer far more than those with ailments. At least if you have an ailment, you have a good excuse. Most people do not have any excuse. Simply sitting, standing and walking, they suffer. Someone suffers because he is poor. He is suffering his poverty. If you make him rich, but now they will suffer taxes. One person said that if I do something, a prayer, I can be rich. I said, and my problems will be solved. I said, if you want, I can give you $1 million right now. Will that make you happy? He said, yes. So there were other friends with him. I said, I'll give you 10 million now. So the first one said, why giving me 1 million and giving him 10 million? I said, you asked for 1 million and you said 1 million will make you happy. So what is the problem if I give someone else more than you? No, comparison is the problem. Nobody should be richer than me. Someone is suffering because he is poor. He is suffering his poverty. And if you give him the money, if he gets it, then he will suffer because suffer taxes. They are not educated. They could not go to school. They will suffer. Get them into the school, they will still suffer. A different kind of. Not married, they suffer. Get them married, they still suffer. So as if suffering has become the way of life. And you will find people rejoice talking about their sufferings, physical ailments, and they very proudly say that I was very frustrated, as if it is something to be very proud of. So my own definition is stress and frustration is improper use of intelligence. You are not able to use your intelligence, your understanding, your awakening wisely. That's why you are frustrated and you are suffering. Get them married and they will still suffer. So they are not suffering their life. This is something that each one of you need to understand. They are not suffering their life. If you ask them what they are suffering, they are capable of suffering. What happened 10 years ago, 10 years ago something happened and they still suffer the outcome of memory. Not that they are capable of suffering. What may happen day after tomorrow already they are suffering. They are suffering their memory, they are suffering their imagination. So essentially, their suffering is not about life. They are suffering two fantastic faculties that only human beings have. They are not suffering the life. Try to understand this. Go deeply into it. No other creature has such a vivid sense of memory that we have. No other creature had kind of fantastic sense of imagination that we have. So really man is suffering because of memory and imagination. If you take away part of their brain, so definitely you know which part it is. Once you take out that part, whatever it may be, you may know all of them will sit peacefully. So the whole lot of people, what they lose, some faculty, but they feel better. Sometimes it happens that somebody lost the memory, so they are not suffering but they are unhappy because they lost their memory. So such is very unfortunate nature of our existence, that our capabilities have become our problems. Your imagination is your problem, your memory is your problem. You should use your memory to remember things which need to be remembered, not the unnecessary things that you keep on stuffing into your memory. And your RAM is not only capable of doing tremendous things, but you have filled it with unnecessary things. So you have to clean the computer, that you know. You are expert in that, but you do not know how to clean the unwanted memory from your memory RAM. But when our capabilities become our problem, we are certainly heading for disaster. Crash down. That is what happens when you do not clean your computer from time to time. It breaks, it crashes. And this is what is happening with most of the people, that they are heading for disaster and there is a crash. complete crash. There is a tremendous capability. This cerebral development is a tremendous capability, but now that is what we are suffering from. We are suffering from memory and imagination. Our fantastic sense of memory and imagination, we are suffering this. And no wonder. So many people are losing their memory because many times in their lives, consciously or unconsciously, they are wishing they could forget something, and they will forget one day. When they forget, it becomes an ailment. But that way, that they were wishing it already, but now when they lost, they are suffering. Every day, a lot of human beings are continuously wishing and praying, I wish I can forget this relationship, because this is creating problems in the current relationship. That's why I had suggested to a person, because no sooner you break one relationship, you enter into another. So I told the person that I would not like you to go into another relationship unless you clear it. He said, how to clear it? I said, there in each relationship there are moments of extreme happiness, bliss, and some moments of unhappiness. So in your first relationship, let us understand how many moments of bliss that you remember every moment. There was no answer. And how many moments of the problems that you had and that you remember always. And it is because of that you have abandoned the relationship and you want to go into without cleaning the RAM. So what actually happens, the readily available memory, the space, get less and less, and it becomes over congested and it creates problem. Every human being is continuously wishing and praying, I wish I can forget this. But when they forget it, they become a case. So this dimension of what we are looking at is about forgetting. It is not about reducing your things. Every day people are taking their own anesthesia, as they call it. And what is the anesthesia they take? Whiskey, wine. They call it wine. They call it by their own names. And what it does, it dulls the memory, but we rejoice. And imagination, it does the memory and imagination. So for that time they feel little good. Simply sit there, it feels peaceful, and next morning everything is back the usual way, unless you still have a hangover. But people have found their own ways of anesthesia. People are using many things, of course. More advanced developments have happened. So the level of anesthesia, also in the level of anesthesia, doctors give you anesthesia for a certain period of time to perform certain surgery on you, but you are taking every weekend, we take anesthesia, either whiskey or wine or something else. So essentially, whether you pray that I want to forget these things and live happily, or you drank a glass of wine, or dropped yourself, or doped yourself, or you are on LSD, or you put them on anesthesia, they are all moving in the same direction. Medical profession is doing it for a specific purpose. for a limited period of time. But we are doing it to our life unconsciously, and it has become part of our social culture. When they lose their memory in a way, unfortunately, they have succeeded in their intent at the moment. Indeed, it is misfortune because people are driving themselves towards that. Today in the world, people think there is something called sanity and something insanity. But there is no real line there. It is a line that you manage by yourself with your own discipline, with your own perception, with your understanding. Is there really a line called sanity and insanity? Tell me. What you think is normal, somebody else thinks is crazy. It is not happening all the time. Older generation think younger generation is crazy, and younger generation thinks old people have lost their marbles. Everyone is making some kind of judgments. One culture thinks another culture is crazy. So it is just a line that we artificially create and manage, because we know if we cross that, we will not be able to control ourselves. Even when people get angry, the terms they use is always very proudly, I am getting mad. So they know it. So they know that they have crossed their lines. The line is not the same for everyone. What is my line is not somebody else's line. Different places, different people have drawn their own criteria and lines. Someone thinks it is all right once there is a way. At least 3 times a day, I shout at someone and it is okay. And you give your own excuses for it. If I ever shout at someone, then I will withdraw myself, probably for many, many years, because such a thing cannot happen. If it happens, I have lost it. So what is your line? Where is your line? Is something that you have drawn. There is no such existential line for it. That there is nothing like existential, that this line is sanity and this line is insanity. There is no such thing. The question is this. If you are in control of your mental faculty, this is called sanity. And if you are not in control of your mental faculty, you call it insanity. Suppose right now we can make an experiment with all of us can be. I give you 10 seconds. Next 10 seconds, nobody. The simple thing, what you have to do is think of anything in the universe that you want. Only think is, you do not have to think of, do one thing, do not do anything that you want, but do not think about monkeys for next 10 seconds. 10 seconds, no monkeys. Okay, isn't it so? You can think of anything else but not monkeys. You will count millions of only monkeys and nothing else. Do this experiment with yourself. At times for 10 seconds you will not think of anything else. You will not think of that person. And see what happens. So our faculties is not totally in control of us. You can experiment this and you can continue to do this for every day for 10 seconds, and slowly you will learn to have control over your faculties. Will move the way you want them to move. Question is only how crazy are you? You are a little more crazy than me. That is about it. But there is no such thing as somebody is absolutely sane or absolutely insane. What matters a lot to me looks sanity to someone else. Is insanity. Isn't it happening every day? What means world to you? What means the world to you? Somebody else thinks it is insanity. What means the world to them? We may think it is insanity. All kinds of things are being done in the world and it looks perfectly normal for that person. It is only the other who is making this judgment about you and saying that he is insane. Only thing is, if what is out of control goes to a point where it causes active harm to himself, or to the people around, then we diagnose it as totally insane. One thing, if what is out of control goes to a point where it causes active harm to himself or to people around, then we diagnose it as insane. We do not call sanity a social thing. Even in terms of sanity and insanity, what is crime and what is not is a social thing. And when we are talking about social things goes on evolving from generation to generation. What was insane? What was the definition of sanity and insanity in the last generation? It is not so. It keeps on changing. What you thought right has become wrong, and what you thought wrong has become right. In India, long ago, there was very rare cases of unwed mothers, whereas in West it is quite common. That is their way of their culture. But now this is happening in people, even in India, or the living relationships as it is common in the Western world. So the definition keeps on changing. It keeps on changing. What you thought right has become wrong, and what you thought wrong has become right. In one generation much has happened, isn't it so? So social realities we do not have to delete, because it is a flux that all of us create. This is generally called culture. Culture is not something dropped upon us. What mess we created today becomes the culture for tomorrow. What the previous generation did, certainly not everything consciously, they did some mess. That is our culture right now. We are living in a democratic society where majority decides may not always be perfectly the solution, but we have agreed that if the majority says this, we do that. Right or wrong, works or does not, we do just that when the majority says that, at least with certain aspects of life. We have agreed that if majority says this, we do that, right or wrong, works or does not work. We do it that when the majority says, at least with certain aspects of life. With certain other aspects, we have retained the authority in some kind of experts. Let us say in anesthesiology. If you say something, maybe that is a right thing. Suppose someone has come up with, just today after passing his medical examination, he will put to 1,000 tests. But if you say it, people will accept it simply because of a certain record and certain reputation, but that may not be at all. That may not be at all final. Reputation and record may not always work. That's why when we go to visit a doctor, we look at his reputation and records. That may not always be true. But we are looking at largely what works. These are only social processes. Without going into that, when we talk about anesthesia, when we talk about disengagement, or when we talk about meditativeness, this word meditativeness in English language has to be cleared. Because we have been going through that. The English word meditation does not say everything or anything specific. How this word has become popular, yet does not describe anything in specific. If someone sits with eyes closed, in English language we say he is meditating. With eyes closed, you can do many things. You can recite a mantra or anything else. You can do jap, you can do tap, you can do dharana. These are the terms used by Patanjali. Dhyan, samadhi, or emptiness, or anything else. There are many things. Or you might have just the art of sleeping in virtual, in that posture. You may know it happens in the universities, in religious places, in religious programs. People go to the religious places just to relax, just to sleep. And as long as the sermon goes on, they fell asleep. Even in this live streaming, at times people have said that they fell asleep. So they listen to it again. People learn to sleep with erect spine. Meditation does not say anything, the word meditation does not say anything specific about it. Someone is focusing on something and they think they are doing meditation. Next one is uttering a mantra and thinking that he is meditating. Someone is thinking about something and says that he is meditating about something. Essentially, if we translate meditation as dhyan, which is what is understood in India, that is what it is said, dhyanam nirvishayam mana. Dhyan is that state of mind when there is no thought, there is emptiness. Nirvishay, all kind of thoughts, all kind of emotions, all kind of feelings that come. When you are empty of all this, for that you need not be asleep. When you fall asleep, that does not mean you have really attained to that state of nirvishayman. The state of your mind is emptied. People expect that you are speaking about meditation. What dhyan means, if you sit, there is a clear space between what is you and what is not you. You are a form and formless. In this sense, what is you, and what you accumulated. You are what you have accumulated as thoughts, feelings, emotions, anything. In this sense, what is you, and what you have accumulated. Body has accumulated, contents of the mind that you accumulated. If there is a little separation between the two, if you can maintain that awareness, now we say you are in dhyan. So this is meditativeness. Even if you attain to this for a certain period of time every day, you will get clarity about the problems that you are having around, and you will find that these problems do not exist. The problems in the form of ailments, psychological at the physical or any level, arise because there is too much closeness between what you have accumulated, that is your mind, is a total mind, is the sixth sense, what you accumulated through nostrils, what you accumulated through the eyes, what you accumulated through the ears, what you accumulated through the vocal cord, what you accumulated through the skin, the touch. These are all accumulated, and this is your bag that you always carry, whether it is needed or not. Isn't it so? When you are going to meet someone, you carry your bag with you. When you have to go for a talk or something, somebody invited you for a talk, you go there, you carry your notes. Do you go empty, or do you speak out of your emptiness? When you speak out of your emptiness, it is out of meditativeness you are speaking. So this is the state, what you have accumulated, and that you consider as you. your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings. But you are not, that is not you. You are emptiness, the unborn, the unmanifest. You have accumulated that you are a Muslim. The Quran is your holy book. So you are conditioned in Quran, somebody else is conditioned in Bible, somebody else is conditioned in Vedas, Puranas. Yes, these are the techniques you can use for treatment of your treatment. You can use natural medicine, you can use Ayurvedic medicine, you can use allopathic medicine, you can use the homeopathic medicine or Unani or any other system. But you are not conditioned into anything. What works for you, works for you. If a particular ayat of Quran Sharif works for you, yes, I'll use it for that moment. If something else works for me, because these are the therapies that I use, it is not something that you can ever do. If you create the right conditions, this awareness will happen as a consequence. It is like flowers in a plant. If you sit in your garden and do your flower meditation or chant the verses of your scriptures, flowers are not going to come. Isn't it so? If you want flowers, you need to handle the soil, the manure, the water, the sunlight. And if you do these things in the right proportion, flowers will happen as a consequence. If you understand the nature of your two faculties, memory and imagination, you create a balance and you keep your RAM always clear, not stuffed. When you are going in a particular situation, what happens on a day-to-day basis? Your wife or you ask your wife something to do. When you come for one reason or the other, that thing does not happen the way it has been expected. What happens? The things from the memory explodes. Memory becomes a volcano, and things that are spoken at that time, and after that what we say, I'm sorry about it. Sorry is a 4-letter word for me. Create a situation that create that awareness that that thing does not happen. It may happen at times, but slowly and slowly the gap will start widening. It may happen immediately as soon as the volcano explodes, and you immediately realize that the gap is reduced. Next time, just before the volcano really erupts, that awakening comes in. Then the awakening will remain 24 hours and nothing like that will happen. Then anger will not use you, the memory will not use you, the computer will not use you. You use the computer technology. You use it for your own benefit. Why can't you use your imagination and memory for that purpose? Recently, some time ago, we got some posters with spices and there some pictures of the recipes. So it was ordered from India and it came in. So I was thinking that I imagined what it is like and how I am going to put it on the wall. So I used my imagination for that purpose and I visualized it, what it will look on the thing. Then I talked to the person that I want to make a frame, because if you place it like that, it may not be good, it may not look attractive. So you make a frame and frame it, not like a picture, not like framing a picture, just you create a wooden frame and using the staple stick it at the back or on the front. So there was a little change or modification based on the expertise of that woodworker, but it is being done that way. It is where the imagination is used in a creative way. Same way you can use the memory, not to create the same mistake again. Clean up there. We clean our computer screens of unwanted situation. There are many programs, but no such program is available for the human computer. If you want the flowers, you have to start working at the ground level. Work with the soil, work with the manure, work with the sunlight, with the water in the right proportion, right amount. Only then the flowers will happen. But the soil does not look like flowers. Manure does not smell like flowers. Water or sunlight does not feel like a flower. But only if you do things right, in the right proportion, in the combination with soil, manure, water, sunlight, air, these 5 elements of which we are composed of: the earth, the water, the fire, the ether, the space. We know the balance between these. Then flowers will happen. Right now, this whole thing has become so convoluted because we have become such a goal-oriented society. This simply means we are only interested in consequences, not in the process. Without the process, the consequences will not happen. The process is the way you have to sit down in meditation, understand what meditation really means, creating the space between what you have accumulated and consider yourself as you and what you are really. The Hindus very clearly say, Aham Brahmasmi. I am ever expanding consciousness. I am neither the body nor the mind nor memory nor the storehouse. But you live with the memory, you live with the imagination, you live with your mind, live with this and that and so many things that you have accumulated in your bag that you carry always on your shoulder. And remember, when you have to climb up the mountain, go higher on the level of consciousness, you have to be as light as possible. If you are going to your doing the mountain climbing, you are told to be as light as possible and carry things which are needed there, not unnecessary things. You are definitely needed a cylinder of oxygen and some other things which are essential. You have to prepare a different kind of bag. When you are traveling in a plane, your carry-on luggage should have a certain kind of things that you need in flight or carry on when your baggage is checked in and until it is released to you for use. Because when it is released for you from the ramp, it is not available to you unless it is cleared by the customs. But whatever you keep in your handbag, you can use it. So we have to know what we are carrying in our handbags on a day-to-day basis, and we have to need to empty it always. This is the only way that we can solve anything that we have around us. So only this much for this morning. Until tomorrow, we'll go for another journey. Take care and do have a pleasant day.